Hello, hello, hello. Crafty Chris here for another Scrap Your Scrap Thursday nights. A few weeks ago, I did a video showing you how to use your washi to create background paper. And I promised that I would come up and show you what I have done with things. So rather than do that, I thought I would just walk you through my thought process, at least on this one project, where I'm hoping to create a 2-page layout with a half of a Christmas tree on this one side and a half of a Christmas tree on this side made out of this paper. So that is the plan, and I wanted to get a sense of how much or how thick my paper could be on either side. I don't think I want it 6 inches wide at its widest part, because that would actually take up too much of the paper. Although, now that I'm sitting here with it in front of me, I don't know if that would be such a bad thing. No, 6 inches is too much. It would be that much of the paper. Yeah. Like I said, you're working through the process with me. All right, so if we say that we are going to do 6 inches on one side and 6 inches on the other side. The thing I need to remember is that I want my pattern to contradict what is happening in the diagonals. If I had my tree going this way, it would go along with the diagonals, or I could turn my tree this way and it would go contrary to the diagonals. And I just can't decide what I think I want to do. I think that being contrary to the diagonals might be a little aggressive. I'm getting the idea that being with the diagonals might be a better way to go. So that means we are going to have to flip one side when we do our Christmas tree cut. Right. Okay. I feel like this looks like a bit of a better width for the base at the bottom. You want to have room for the papers, and you also want to have room for this to show up. So this is making me feel like maybe that's a better size. It just happened to lay out in front of me like that. Get my ruler, find out what we're looking at there. It's like a 5-inch strip. So I think I'm going to make my first cut on my paper out of this 5-inch strip. So I need a master paper, and I'm just going to use a piece of scrap. I'm going to grab something. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to cut this at 5 inches, and then I'm going to make my Christmas tree, or maybe I wait. I'm going to draw my Christmas tree starting at the 5-inch area and see how it goes, y'all, because it depends how I draw it as well. So let's say, just going to notate where 5 inches is at the bottom so I know what I'm heading for. Oh, there's my ruler. So we have 5 inches at the top and 5 inches at the bottom. And my Christmas tree is going to come out some way in here. All right, so this is as far as we want to go. Quick line just up there. So we need a Christmas tree. I'm going to go from fat to thin. And let's see. It's kind of going backwards. So let's take that out of the loop. And we'll go from small to big. I don't want it to be too small up here. So I just put like about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to sort of estimate just a quick little drawing of how I'm going to get that Christmas tree drawn in here. Okay. All right, so what I've done is just put some light lines suggesting the frame of a Christmas tree. How I draw it, of course, will be dependent on my feelings, and then I'm going to probably go back and fix a few things. I don't know how many, and this one might go a little bit longer, just under there. So I'm liking this place here. That works for me. That works for me. That works for me. This works for me. This works for me. And that works for me. So one of the things I need to note is I want some of the Christmas tree to show. So I have a very large gap here. I can tighten this up and curve it a little bit more. So more of that paper will show. And then, of course, we've got that same thing happening here. So I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And I can just play around with it, and I don't really like that bellows there, but if I straighten it out, am I going to like it better? A little bit better. It's quite bellowy. Let's make it a little straighter. And this is all just so that I can make sure that I have something that I like to look at, so that when I cut it, I feel happy with the cut. And that it looks like it might be I think I'll make that a little bit more that way. Because this is going to be my template for both sides. They're going to be identical. And I just want to make sure that I like what I see in terms of the tree. It's quite a bit wider here. Don't want it to be too uniform. After all, you're not really going to look at what the actual shape of the tree is because of the pattern of everything that's on it. It will draw your eye. All right, I think I have it. Perfect. Okay, so this is going to be my template. I am going to go in and just quickly cut this. All right, so there we go. Still have a little bit of something here that I need to trim out. Right. Make sure my points are very pointy. There we go. This paper is only 8.5 by 11, where this is 12 by 12. So when I position it, I will get a different cut. Alrighty, now I'm going to put these aside for a moment. I am going to do this on the flip side, and I am going to just tack it down. With some tape. I've got tons of little bits of tape here. Just roll up some little bits of tape I have, line it up with the edge of the paper. I'm going to probably just finger hold these as I go, because I find that it will be easier. So I've got my template on the back. How this is going to come out is with the texture coming this way. So let's get that happening here. Now, as I said, it's not always, it's 11 by 8.5 by 11 and not by 12. So I just continued the arc I had there up to the top. And I'm going to go back and forth. And it's a little bit tricky on the cardstock. So I'm going to overcut. I think I'll start at the bottom. Now, where do I want this bottom to go? I want to have sort of a tree trunk here. So I'm cutting up from the bottom about 1.25 inches to that edge. And then I'm going to cut along this edge. I better put a little bit of tape there. I notice that it's moving. So again, I'm cutting along this edge. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect because we do know that it's a hand cut. If you want to get perfect, you could probably find an image on the internet and print it the right size. Or you could take a die and trace the die and move out your traced edges every 1/4 inch until it was wide enough and tall enough. This I just find is faster. Now, I don't expect I'm going to get much out of that, but I do need to cut a little bit beyond the corner because I got to get my scissors in there to go back. Or if you use an X-Acto knife, that would work as well. So I'm just going into that corner. Oh, my fingers are getting stuck. And I am going to go up to that point first. And I had to, because the corner is so tight, I have to cut off the inner corner so that I can make that pointy cut. And then I make sure I cut beyond the tree. It's a little bit of a challenge. And then I just go back. And this is where it gets pointy, right into that little point. I'm not going to worry about the little point at the moment. I am going to cut in to the bottom edge of the upper bough, I guess you would call it, so I can make that cut, and then I'll go back. So I've cut in there. Now I'm making my bough cut. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in and trim the point. Now, so when I get this all done, I want to look at it and make sure that I like the way everything has been cut. So smoothing things out if they're too jerky. A little bit of a challenge, but nothing you can't handle. All right, so there's our Christmas tree. It looks pretty awesome. I like what I'm seeing. I'm noticing that there's, oh, that's my template behind there. Let me get that off. Thought I was having some separation of the washi, but the washi is holding very well. There we go. And when I put this on my white paper, I might feel like I need to adjust it slightly. So this is going to go on the one side. Now I have to make the one that goes on the other side. Now I did have, so I want it to go, so this is the thing. I want it to go this way. So this is going this way. This one needs to go that way. Now, what happens? So this is how I'm going to cut this one, because I need to have everything going down. So instead of cutting it from bottom to top, I'm going to flip my template and cut here from top down as my, oh, it turns out actually to be the same thing when I flip it over. So watch what I mean. I'm going to fast forward you to the end where I do the reveal. And there we have our second piece. And look at all the amount we have left to make some fun little parcels and things to go under the tree. So, all right, let me just, I got two sides of Christmas trees. I was supposed to flip it upside down. Okay, so this is an interesting predicament happening here in front of you. What is Chris going to do with this mess? Keep that just in case I quit it. So, problem I did. I flipped the paper, but I didn't flip the template. So it wasn't cutting out this way. It was cutting exactly the same way as I cut here, only the paper is upside down. So what do I do? Well, at this point, it's like a variation. You just got to roll with it. I don't have another piece of this that I can play with. Not that I would want to waste this anyway, because it's really beautiful paper. So I am going to do an inverted Christmas tree. So we'll have a Christmas tree here, and this is going to mimic it on the diagonal of the two pieces. And these guys are kind of all merging together. So it's still going to be a Christmas page. It's just going to be a little bit funkier than I expected. So the first thing I'm going to do, I don't want to use this paper. Okay, so I decided that the white paper wasn't the way I wanted to go. So I've got this green that is definitely lighter. And let me just turn down this light. We'll make it. How about we just turn it off? So you can see that this is lighter than what's happening here, but it kind of blends in with the greens that are going on. And I wanted it to be lighter than anything that's going on in here, so this kind of pops on it. So we've got two pieces of that as our base. The first thing I'm going to do is glue down my upside down piece. And I'm going to glue it really well because we do have some washi tape that has been exposed here. This is going to go in a page protector, so I'm not so worried about the washi tape coming off. If it was not going in a page protector, I would take the time to just put glue along the edges to kind of adhere the washi to the paper where I have the cuts. So this guy is going from top to bottom, right along the edge of my green paper. Let's make sure. There we go. And he is now down. He's my upside down tree. Now I'm just going to make sure that all my tape is not exposed. And there we go. And now this is going to go right side up on the opposite page. Make sure I get it right into the corner. And there we go. And push down those arms. All right, so there we go. Interesting dilemma, but let's play with it. Not everything goes right the first time you do it. Alrighty, so we have some leftover paper. I think I'm going to make some baubles out of this. I'm just going to take my die cutting machine, and I have some Christmas baubles, and I'm just going to go in and get some things cut out of this, and I will bring it back and show you what I've done. So just as a quick to let you know, I have a sidekick, and all of my dies that I'm using to create embellishments for this 2-page layout are all able to fit in the sidekick. So what I've done is I've taken this paper that was left over, and I've cut 2.5-inch strips all the way along, and I'm going to get as many ornaments out of it as I possibly can. Okay, so I've done a various amount of die cutting. I've got some ornaments here that have been die cut, some little gifty gifts, presents that have been die cut. This is kind of a 3-dimensional box that I can put some tissue in to make it look Christmassy. I have made the decision that I am going to make 2 separate pages because I've messed up on this Christmas tree being in the same direction of this Christmas tree. I am now going to make that an additional page, but in the album further along, or maybe next year, who knows? Because this, I just couldn't accept my mistake, and I have to move on. Alrighty, so I'm going to get some photos out first before I start thinking about decor. If I don't use all of these bits and pieces here, they will go with the page to be used for next year. So I'm not worried about how many things I have there. One observation that I've made is that the dies that I have for, I don't know why that's not focusing. That's interesting. Let's have it. Let me just go in and do autofocus. So the dies that I have for, there we go. And now I'm going to bring this up so it can focus a little better. They have lots of detail on them. Unfortunately, they're intended for a stencil. So the actual cuts on this highlight the stenciling that happens in the stencil. So even though they, yes, are ornaments, and if you look at them and when you see the page in person, you'll see that detail. It's not really obvious when you're looking from a distance down onto the page what those really look like. This one is another version of it. Let it focus. There you go. So you cannot see the intricate work that's around the pieces, but that's okay because I know that on my end, when I'm putting images on this page and these decor pieces on the page, I will be able to see them, but you won't necessarily be able to see them. So my bottom line there is, if you're going to use dies, make sure that they are dies that actually cut out the areas that you're looking at versus emboss or highlight a stenciled area or a stamped area. All right, so going into my box, I'm going to put a couple of sizes on here just to get a sense of what's going on in terms of my layout. What else do I have in here? There are some usual versions of things I have that I often will use over and over again because I like the sizing of them. Now I want something, go for something square in there maybe. Let's see. That's a little too small. I think I want to go slightly bigger than that. That was what? 3.5 by 3.5. Let's try a 4 by 4. All right. Yeah, I think I like the 4 by 4 better. This is 4.25, 3.25 by 4.25, and I think that it's even though my photos all cut down to fit into the size of Matt's, this is not making me happy. So it's a 3 by 4 that I really want. So I'm going to get an actual 3 by 4, and then that helps me see those two pieces as equal. All right, so I'm thinking I'm just going to keep it super simple, but I want to use some of these other pieces as decor pieces. I'm going to get a lid of my used up washi tape just to stick these down where I think I want to see them. Yep. And try to make sure they're in a relatively spacious area because I want to do doodads around them. My doodads. And let's see, I want to kind of match that. I think I want them down just a little bit from the top, but maybe, well, similar to that. There we go. And another piece here. And these two, I kind of want to balance this piece with what's going on at the side there and kind of keep it aligned. There we go. So that's what I'm looking at. Let's just fold that under so it doesn't look so obvious. So I got a 3 by 4, a 4 by 4, and a 6 by 4 here. And now I want to play around with some of these presents. This present, if I put it on top of the Christmas tree, it completely disappears. But I like the idea of having this guy in the corner, and I'm going to have presents fly out of it. So in order to make that happen, I don't want to cover up the photograph, so I'm going to shift the photograph a bit, trying to keep sort of a similar border section. And then I can have my present in the corner, and I can start having the things fly out here. Maybe I will have one land in this area here, but I kind of like the idea to do that. Now this has multiple areas to make this look three-dimensional. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line of glue down there and a pop dot on either side so it forces that V shape. Okay, where are my pop dots? There they are. And I just use small amounts of pop dots. I don't go crazy because all it's really doing is just holding the shape out. So I'll grab a piece for there. Oop, stuck on my fingernail. So I'm just going to put a piece on that side and a piece on this side, a little bit back from the edge, just a tiny bit back from the edge. And then I'm going to put glue down there. The rest I'm not going to worry about because it is supposed to be three-dimensional. So we're going to keep that three-dimensional. I'm going to take the tops of my glue dots off. There we go. trying to keep my area clean and tidy while I work, which isn't always possible. And I'm going to find my bottle of glue, and I'm just going to put a bead of glue down this center beam here, just so that it sticks and it's secure. That's all. I'm not looking to get super worried about it now. So I'm going to push down there, and I'm going to push down on the pop dots, and it kind of gives me that popped look. Okay. Now I'm going to leave this open at the bottom. I'll bring it up to you. So at the bottom, it's open. I'm going to leave that open because then it can move around a bit when I get it into my actual layout cover, and it can flatten a little bit if it needs to. So right now I just want the impression of a pop. Now the other thing I want in there is a little bit of tissue paper to make it look like the presents are popping out of the actual bag. So I do have some green tissue paper and I have some white tissue paper. I think I'm going to keep it white. If I go to a whole other realm of green, it's just going to be overwhelming. And I'm going to try to bring out the reds and the blues as much as I possibly can as well, with the addition of the little ornaments and presents. Now these I ripped into strips, and I stuffed them in a previous package when I was demoing. So I'm just going to tuck that in so that you can see that there's tissue in the box. Okay. Now I'm going to find a present. I have a number of different types of presents, and I use the same die, but I tried to manipulate the texture and the size. So for instance, these two dies are exactly identical, but what I've done is I've put, let me just trim this excess off here. I've put an extra piece of ribbon down the center here, whereas I do not have that there. And I have everything with the lid attached to the top of the box, and this one has the lid on, actually physically on the box. Sorry, I should get a little closer. So this one, let my camera focus. Doesn't seem to want to focus. There we go, that's better. So in this one, if I flip to the back, you can see that the lid is just at the top of the box, and what's holding it on technically is this piece of faux ribbon and the ribbon and bow. It's holding it together. This is exactly the same die, but rather than having the top sit at the top of the box, I've put the top over top of the top of the box, which reduces its size, and I've omitted the ribbon that goes down just to give it some variety. So you can play around with how you create your boxes, and I did the same thing here. So let me see if I can show you. So we have a short box and a tall box. Again, this short box is held onto the bottom, the top is held onto the bottom of the box with the ribbon. This one, I've put the top of the box over top of the bottom of the box, and I've added a little piece, or I've had the ribbon move up so it's sitting on top of the box, whereas the ribbon is sitting at the lid here on this one. So just playing around. And also on this one, I'll just show you the shape of the boxes. So if you notice, these two boxes, the top across the top versus the bottom is on an angle going in towards the bottom, and I inverted it So now we're wider at the bottom and narrower at the top on this one. So it's another way, if you have shape, that you can manipulate those boxes. So I'm going to pull all the boxes out, and I just want to see the colors that I have. I don't want to blow all of them out of the box. I think it'd be fun to have one stuck in the box so you can see that it's actually flying out. And then I might have another one here, another one there, and maybe one over here, so that it looks like they've exploded out of this box here. Maybe I need two in there. Like they're just falling out of the box. There we go. Something like that. And then this one is way up there. So we have an explosion of boxes. I'll keep that one for the other page. And what am I doing now? And that's all I needed, a little tiny bit of the white. I may play with that a little bit more to get it the way I like to see it, but I like the idea of a presence. Now, in terms of some of these decor pieces, they all are very detailed. Some of them have string to hang from, like if I can show you this one, you can see the detail when you see it up close. So I have a few that are hanging ones, and they can hang from the top of the, oops, some things are sliding there, hang from the top of the page. That one actually disappears, so I'm going to not even use that one. This one's a little better, and it coordinates with what's going on there. What else do we have? We have this nice big one. Maybe we need to switch the big one out for that one. And maybe I'll put this one in here. There we go. And because everything is jaunty, like none of these are square, which is what my intention is, to make sure that nothing is horizontal or vertical. Everything that I play with on the page is going to be diagonal. That one I'm not sure about. That one I'm not sure about. And then we have some of these much larger pieces. I'm finding that perhaps I'm not really going, well, I can use them actually on the Christmas tree. So we'll go back and do that afterwards. And I'm just going to fill in the spot across the top here with some of these hanging ornaments. Some of them are littler than others. And I'm just going to spread them across the top there. Oh, there's one that goes right to the very top. And that might be a bit too big. It's hard to say. Now these guys, I am going to put a pop dot behind them so they actually do have some depth to them. So they'll pop up a little bit more. And let's see. I think that that's just a little too short for there. And maybe have that guy there. Just kind of spreading them across the top. I can compress my photos if I want to do it. The only thing that I've physically put down is the box at the bottom. So we're just going to play with it a little bit, see what we think. Oops, that one I tried to pull apart to see what would happen, and was not my favoriteest thing. Now, I can start adorning the tree with some of these pieces as well. And the idea is to use different colors than what's in the background. Let me just pull that piece in there. So I have a few things hanging off the tree as well. There we go. So there's some contrast and so that you can see them. The other thing I may do is put some distress around the edges of them. So let's see. This is too small, I feel. So we're going to leave those things over there. And let's see. I want to make sure that I am using things that are opposite of the colors that are on the tree. So we have some decorations there. And these guys, these are just a little too big. Maybe I'll need one of these guys here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I could put this, actually, yeah, I'll put this one down here. I'm going to switch that one out. Oh, it's too close. And this ends up being too close to what's there too. Let's see, what can I switch out up here? If I put that there, it's very close to that. This little game of moving things around. This one might work. I switch that out. I'll put him over here. And that one can go there. And then this one can go here. It's a little bit different. So at least there's a visual. And do I need something up here? I may need something up there. This is when it gets tricky because I don't want something that's too big up there. What if I have that one up there? And then I need to just spread these guys out a little bit more. That one can stay there. I'm going to move this guy over here. That guy there. And put this guy in there. That one fits really beautifully there. And maybe just add that guy there. There we go. Fix the problem. And then now I've got things that will show on the finished page. I also have this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not big on evens. What if I put that one there and shift everything slightly? This seems to be the side that's the lightest. There we go, like that. You're going to come over here, you're going to come over here, you're going to get closer. There we go. I'm feeling a little better about that now. All right, and I have some extras, which will go in my extras bin. Now, I am going to switch this big one out. Actually, maybe I'll switch this big one out because it's red and it has more impact. And then I have two different presents coming out. And I am going to draw some lines indicating that they actually have come from inside the package. And I might move that up slightly so you can see a line drawn from this to the box too. So that connects those pieces as being flying out of the box. So I'm actually quite happy with this. What I do want to do is I want to bring this down. I really feel like I need to bring it down. It's too tight up here. So I'm going to move a couple of things. First, let me get this more the way I want it to be. There we go. We do that. Tuck that in. And then this guy can pop out of there. And that guy can, whoops, we'll switch sides. This guy is going to go glue into there. And this guy is going to sit there. Nope, don't like it. Turn it the other way. So all the loose ends are up. Have too many ends folded over there. There we go. There we go, I like that better. So this guy is going to pop out of there. And that guy is going to pop out of there. Still don't like it. I need to have ends. I want to see the ends of things. So let's put some ends here. Pull that in. I have a puppy on my, breathing hotly on my leg here. So if you're hearing breathing in a chain, that's her. Okay, so we have this one there, and that one there. There, I think I am happy with this now, so the trick is to get it glued down. All right, so I'm going to put a thick blob of glue behind this one and just push. And same for this one. And just push. So now you can see them coming actually out, and because I know I need to keep the tissue stuck, I just put a little piece of glue and stuck it to the inside of the box. There we go. And those will dry up. Then we're going to move this down just a bit. I'm okay with having, oh, they won't go down. Yeah, because I have glued that down. All right, so we are going to go back to making that like that. So I'm going to move it in a little so I have some room. It's okay if it cuts over the, there we go. I just want to, all right, so this is going to fly off here. I'm going to get a pop dot because I want it to fly off, but I also want it to be on top of the photograph a little bit. So I've got the pop dot to the right hand side, and now I'm going to allow that. So I'm able to get my photo in there. That's going to go off that way, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it in the bottom left corner. Bottom left corner. And then this is going to be, I just want to make sure I don't touch the photo. It needs to go over a little bit more. There we go. So I can have that little whoosh, whoosh. And this guy, I'm going to move these down first. So let's move these down. I'm going to keep that. Oh, I'm going to make sure I keep it all even. There we go. So these guys are going to get moved down. All right. That gives that up there a little more space. And this guy is going to pop dot in the middle. And he's going to have his thing transfer there. Okay. I'm going to do this right in the middle. There we go. Now does that leave everything loose? Yep. And that allows me to draw a line to continue the line towards the explosion. All right. Now, I don't always put a title on my layouts. I sometimes do. Depends. Usually on 2-page layouts I'll do that, but not necessarily on 1-page layouts. Okay, there we go. So the ones that have string, I think I'm going to have them a little bit higher, and then the ones without string, I'm going to pop dot and have them a little lower. So it looks like they're hanging, something like that. And I'm actually thinking I might use some string for that. I have a very fine little cord, and what I think I'm going to do is create bows, little teeny tiny bows, and you just do that by doing 2 rabbit ears, and then you crisscross them. I can flatten this a little tiny bit. So there we go. I don't want that to get too big. And I want to pull them tight, and then I can figure out how big they need to be. All right, so something like that. So there's my bow. And I'm pulling both strings. It need to be just a bit bigger. Rather than tie it on, I'm going to glue it into the spot. And now let's see if that works. Lengthwise for this one. I think it will, so I'm going to put some glue right away around the circle. I'm going to pull the ends up. I'm going to stick that right there and hold it for a second. And then you'll see what's going on. Luckily, my glue dries clear. Do you want to dries clear glue? Okay, I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to slightly open the top. Let's see how that is for length. Perfect. Now this one, I'm probably going to need a tiny bit more. So we're going to create our bow. Pull nice and tight. Reduce the size. Now I'm going to cut a little more than I need because I'm not sure how this one is going to go. But I'm going to glue this bow right in that spot again and stick that in where the hole is. Trying to keep it centered if I can. Sometimes it comes away with my finger. Yep. Okay. Try it again. All right, let that dry. Now I can play with the length on that one a bit more. Okay, so I'm going to turn this around so I can work with this a little more easily. And these little guys, some of them I'm going to pop dot, some of them I'm going to glue flat, but I just want to make sure I have them the distance apart that I really feel I want. This can come over a little bit more that way. All right. Now this guy has a great roundness about him, so I am going to put a pop dot behind him and glue him down. But I'm putting a small bit, not a big, large bit. So I'm actually cutting just a little blob of pop dot. On top of that, I am also, whoops, gotta get the glue off the end there. I am also going to put a little bit of glue on the string because I want it to appear to be hanging, but I also want it to be off the page. There we go. And that gives shadow and depth. You'll see when everything has been glued on and I pull it up to the screen that it really does make a difference. Now this guy is hard to put a pop dot underneath, so I'm going to pop dot the round piece. So I'm just going to bend it a little so I have some play. And then the strings and this piece are going to be glued flat. So again, get a small piece of pop dot, the inside of the round one, and then I'm just going to put some glue in various locations on the very detailed one and the string. And this is why I bent where the pop dot will go. So we want to get it right up to the top there, making sure both strings are going to be able to be attached. I should probably move the pop dot a bit too. I've got a small problem. I'm going to put that pop dot back a little bit more to the outer edge, and I'm going to put some glue because the stickiness has disappeared from it. So that's going to go there, and then I'm going to push down on the string and push down on the ornament that's hanging from it. It's a little crooked. Can I fix it? Probably not. See if I can push it over a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we have some depth here. This one I'm going to put flat down and about the same distance away. And you want to make sure you don't get too much glue on things because it makes a mess. All right, now this guy is ready to go, and I'm literally just going to glue the backs of of the string just by drawing glue over top of it. And I'm going to let that sit, and I'm going to put a pop dot underneath, but I just want to get the strings looking straight. There we go. That goes over there. I still feel like this is not spread apart enough, but that's okay. All right, so this guy's going to need a pop dot underneath, and I'm going to put it just north of center. I want to be able to have my picture go underneath. There we go. That gives that three-dimensional aspect, but then looks pretty straight. It's hard to see it upside down, I know. Alrighty, so this one, I want to put a little pop dot underneath both of them. So 2 halves. Actually, they're quarters. Okay, so we're going to do 1 pop dot here, 1 pop dot here, and then I'm going to glue down the strings. So let's take the back of the pop dots off. I'm going to glue a little bit here. Oops, that's a lot. And a little bit here. Kind of forcing the glue to hold between the 2 pop dotted circle shapes. You'll see when I bring it up close. I will show you what I mean by that. Okay, oops. Give that another minute. Then I'm just going to play with this a little bit more. Okay, this one I'm gluing flat, making sure I line it up with everything else, taking away any overflow of glue because it's such a tiny piece. There we go. And then this one I'm going to glue flat as well. You can see the detail of it when you look at the page, even if you're not seeing it from your vantage point. This one I'm going to glue down, and then I'm going to center that one in between. This one I could pop dot, but you know, it is a little tiny piece. I just feel like it might be a little too difficult. Let's try it. Never say never with me, right? Okay, we got a little tiny pop dot in there. If I can get the top off without removing the dot. And then a little bit of glue. Alrighty, let's see how that goes. Well, went on fairly easy. And it's pop dotted. So it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Alright, now this guy, we are going to put a pop dot under. We're only putting a half a pop dot because it is, again, a difficult one to hide. But I have a space where I can get between the open dots. So I have the pop dot. I'm going to have some glue here and along those strings. And hopefully it won't interfere with my photo. Nope, it's not going to interfere with my photo at all. And I hope that's straight. So I need to look at it this way to see if everything looks straight. Not bad. I just feel like that's disappearing. So I might have to do some ink work to bring that up a bit. This one, because it's pop dotted, I can see the shadow. But here there's no shadow and I'm losing that image. So I might have to do some ink work to bring that out. What else is needed here? I just feel like it's very open here. Very open, like in that spot specifically. But if I put one little guy there, is that going to balance it out? Maybe I drop him a little bit and draw. Maybe not so much, maybe around there. Ooh, fingers wiggling. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So he's going to be flat. And he's going to be a little bit from the top. There we go. And then I'm going to draw some strings in for him. This will pull that out now. My 0.5 pen. Okay, let me use this one. Okay, so I am just going to draw straight down. There we go. While I'm out here, I need to do something with this guy here. I think I'll wait until everything else gets glued down. All right, so I got my little guy with the black, and there'll be some black here, and there's black in other places, so it's not completely out of sync with what's happening. And then I'll do my path, do the exploding box. All right, so now we need to do these guys. And these guys, I think I want to put little bows on them, but not any strings, just little bows. So I'm going to make a bunch of little tiny bows. And I'll show you again. So I'm making 2 rabbit ears, and I'm just, my fingers are gluey, so they don't want to cooperate. There we go. Pull it through. Make sure you have some on either side, and then you just adjust the bow the way you want to see it. I think that is good. I'm going to stick that bow right in that little spot. But first, pop dots. So I'm opening up all the little sort of things that make this go round. And I'm going to put just one pop dot in the center. I'm going to put a whole pop dot though. And then I'm going to stick my guy down. And I'm going to put some glue at the top here because I do want that to stay flat. And we're going to hang him right about here. And just hold down. There we go. And we're going to add some glue. Oops, not there. Don't want it there. And then I'm just going to place my little bow on there. Not a bad idea to have a pair of tweezers just to put some pressure on it. There we go. Now I'm going to do the same for this one. Let's make sure we have these all sort of spread out a little bit. Something like that. Now this one I previously cut out, so I do have to glue it down, but I'm going to put a pop dot in this area. I just realized that one of the dots is not popped out. So I'm going to do a pop dot in the upper area. And then I got to glue all the little pieces where they belong because I tried to there we go. Oh, stay. Because I tried to separate them thinking I might be able to change the style of it. And I'm just going to have it sort of like that. Then I'm going to glue this flat around it. Oop, not too much glue, just little dots, just to keep it to stay. Now, I'm going to put this down around. And then in here, again, a little bit of glue. Just get this last little piece in there. Hopefully it'll all stay down. There we go. Yeah, perfect. Okay, making another little tiny bow. All right, here we go. Try that again. You know, you can't keep all your materials forever. Sometimes you just got to make things bigger than you need and trim it back. There we go. Okay. Glue right there. Put on the bow and press it down. All right, now I need to move this down because I don't want them on the same eye level. This is going to be moved down a tiny bit as well. So maybe you're going to go there. All right, so this I can put a fairly large pop dot on just below. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put 2 half dots. Oops, not anymore. It's stuck. All right, trimming a little piece for above the dots because I want that whole section to be actually puffy. Okay, so now I've got that off. I want some glue to flatten at the top where I'm going to put the bow. And everything is going to be rounded. And it's going to go about there. There we go. Another little bow. Put a blob of glue there. Put my bow on top. And press down. All right. Getting there. And this one I'm going to put a big glue dot in the center. Glue at the top to keep it down. hanging off the branch here. I'm noticing this popping up quite a bit. So I am going to put some glue to keep it from moving up. There we go. And another little bow. I always try to keep one side of the ribbon a little longer than the other side, just makes it look fun. Just two more to do, two more to do. And there, it needs to hang off of there for sure. These are getting sort of parallel, but can't do much. All right, so we're going to cut one of these in half. And then we are going to put some glue here and at the tip, because I know this one is going to want to pop. And another little bow. Okay, there we go. This one, I'm going to use the other half of Pop Dot, put that in the center there. Another bow. I could do all the bows at one time, but I like the variety. Ants are doing different things. I find that doing bows, a lot of bows at one time, I get cramps. It's probably some arthritis there. One more, and then our page is done, except for a couple of details. So now this one I cannot pop, which makes me very sad because it's right up at the top of the page. So you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to fake pop it. So I am going to glue right here and right here, and I am going to push the two sides together. So I need to turn my page to do that. And I'm going to kind of roll. I'm rolling it over, and we're going to have it hang from here, and I'm pushing the two sides together. Can't really see it, but I'll show you what happens when you do that. Come on. So this is what you can do if you find that you are not able to pop dot something. The only problem with it is that it will crush if you have too much weight in your photo album. All right, so let me show you that. So what I did is I pushed the top and the side together so that it creates this little tunnel. There's no pop dot in between, so you don't see the white from the pop dot, but you still have that three-dimensional pop dot look. But you can't do it on a big thing. It can only be done on small things. Oh, better make my bow before I'm gluing it there. And short, long. I alternate the shorts and the longs. I will bring the page closer so you can see all the details. We'll leave it be for a bit. Okay, so now just so that I have an idea of where my lines have to go, I'm sort of just going to have a slight angle to the line, but I need to have sort of a direction that makes sense. So it's going to have a slight curve to it coming to the box. So I'm going to get my black dot, and I'm going to start dotting underneath and coming through. There we go. So you can see that the line of the box is still going to head right down. Same thing here. We're going to have it come out of here. There we go. And the same thing here. So you can see that those boxes are popping right out of there. The other thing I want to do is a little tiny bit of detail on the edge, very slightly with my marker, just so that it makes it show up on the green. But you now can see it, so it hasn't disappeared. It looks like it has a shadow, and all I'm doing is putting a marker along the edge of the actual ornament. And I'm just going to follow through with a sort of sketchy edge on the cutaways as well, wherever the green is. There we go. So you can actually see some of the detail now. All right. And what else do I need? Don't know that I need anything. Okay, so let me bring it closer so that you can see all the details. Pin for my glue before it dries out. Okay, so starting at the bottom corner here, we have our explosion box. Oops, let me hold the paper. So our box is 3D, and you can see inside the tissue. And that box exploded, and out of that box flew these packages in your lower to mid right-hand side. Then we have our Christmas tree, which is decorated, and you can see that they're all 3D and pop dotted. So that goes from the bottom right to the very top. They all are tied onto the tree. And then across the top, we have multiple levels of ornaments. Some are popped, some are flat across the top. And there's our finished page. And you know, considering I started off with it being a mistake, I don't actually mind it. It's turned out quite fun. And then I'll have some focus pictures on there. I'm very pleased with it. I hope that you have enjoyed this process with me. And, you know, the reality is it doesn't matter how much experience you have, you still will make mistakes. And if they are mistakes that you can turn into variations, that's very handy. But sometimes they're just plain mistakes, and you have to move into another way of thinking about them. So we went from having a 2-page spread down to a 1-page spread, but I still have the other side that I can use on another Christmas. And it won't be something that'll be side by side in an album, so people will think it's different each year. All right, that's it for me tonight. If you enjoyed watching the video tonight, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe at the end of the video. That way you'll get to know when I'm putting up another video with another idea. And if you're on my channel, you can go to that channel anytime you want and take down any or look at any of the videos there to do your own creations. I really do appreciate when you subscribe, because it helps me to build awareness in other places so I can share my ideas with other groups. So that's it for me tonight. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.